Hi everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. In today's video, we're going to be working on this little book of backgrounds page I did. The link to the video to create this is in the description below. And it's sized like an artist trading card, which is 2.5 by 3.5. So this is a nice challenge if you're not comfortable working with small pieces, is to create an ATC. And for this little one, I picked out a couple of little things. I'm going to be mixing a lot of different things together. I'm going to have fabric and metal and plastic, and create a inspirational piece. And I found these little, actually Joe found these, 99 cents at Lens Mills, and the little chipboard sayings. And the phrase I'm going to put on here is "love everything." All right, so I did a little bit of prep work just to pull out some pieces that I wanted to use, and I may use them all, I may not. In my stash of cut pieces, I cut a piece of this ruler. Okay, so cut that out. And I'm going to be using fabric paint for the burlap. So I have the DecoArt So Soft paint, transparent medium. Then I've got the ultra white and the pottery brown, and you'll get something and it's flexible. That's why I wanted it for this. I've got just some three little buttons, and I was going to use a butterfly on this. I use butterflies in everything because they're my favorite, but the challenge with this one is to mix different textures. So fabric, plastic, cardboard, paper, and metal. So I've got this thing from my stash. It's an old clock face. Using that. And for the back of the card, now because I created this on just a little paper, need to create a label for this. If you're creating this as just a regular art piece and you can omit this step, I typically just stamp this on rice paper, tear the edges and glue it. I thought I would try gessoing it first, then putting on some modeling paste, make an impression, and then I can stamp my details. I want to see what it would look like, just to add a bit more flexibility, more substance to this, because it's very thin. If that doesn't work, then I'll go with the stencil, just a stencil ATC, and this is the DecoArt Personally Yours Urban Ink stencils, and this one's called Chopper. Okay, so these are really cool. So that'll be as my last resort. All right, so because the background's already done, we can just build right on top of it. And honestly, the first thing we have to do is we have to work on the back, because once you have everything put on here, then it's kind of hard to get a flat impression. But what we can do to save some time is we can paint the burlap. So the idea that I'm going for, and I'll do a dry fit here. So the idea I'm going for is something like this. I'm going for something like this. And then the little chipboard piece being on here. It's a very simple little ATC. Oh yeah, and then it took me about an hour to do this. No, not an hour. Then I wanted a little bow that'll go right in here. If I have the patience, I'll thread it through here. But that's kind of what I'm going for. Then the sentiment will go here. So I want to paint these. And I want to paint the back one darker, so we'll paint the front one first. And I'm working on my unstick arts and crafts sheet, so I can use it as a palette. Oh, this is new. And these paints, you just need a touch of the brown. We're just making a bit of a darker back. Actually, I should have used blue. Oh, that would have been better. Hang on. Where's my blue? To make it like a Payne's gray. That's got a cap. These paints make everything very, very flexible, so they're really good for that. All right, and then the transparent medium. No, let's not use transparent medium. Let's use that. See, I'm already going off. Get rid of that bubble. I'm already going off in 10 different directions because I have so many ideas. Mostly I would just make a whole series of these cards, but I wanted to save some time. So I'm going to mix a little bit of transparent medium with a little bit of the white on a dry brush. And I'm just going to dry brush over this. Because the cards are handled, I didn't want this to be too stiff. But you can use regular paint. You don't have to use fabric paint. I just wanted to experiment with the So Soft paint on burlap. I'm just basically getting rid of the brown. If you put too much paint, you'll get that type of effect. If that's what you want, that's fine. I'm just trying to layer that. And the transparent medium just helps it be not so stark white. I don't want it to be completely white. I do want it to be kind of an off color. And then this one here, a little bit of the brown, a little bit of the blue. And I'm creating something similar to Payne's Gray. Now this is pottery brown. It's not a pure pigment, so I'm not going to get the Payne's Gray that I typically work with, but it's fine. Just to create a little bit of a shadow color. And oh, I put a little bit too much paint in there, so I'll probably put that on the bottom. And we had our first snowfall today. It is so cold, so Joe's probably not going to be gone very long. I do all my videos when I try to do my videos first thing in the morning when he's out for his walk. So while you guys are sleeping at 5 a.m., I'm recording videos and Joe's out walking. I can take a little bit of just the white and just kind of, not everywhere, just add a little bit of interest. Very, very cold. So all the clinging and clanging you're going to hear, that's the wind. All right, so that's it for that. Didn't need that much paint. I didn't clean my table from the night before. All right. Deco Art Media, white gesso, and the white modeling paste is what we're going to be using. Where's my favorite brush? Oh, that may be too big. I'm going to use a little brush. I'm using the Aqualon brushes for this. And you don't have to be fussy with the gesso for this particular stage, because all I'm doing here is building a bit of texture on here, but it's more as to prepare the surface for the modeling paste. The more layers of material you put on like a little card like this, the stronger it'll be. It won't be so flimsy. And you may say, well, why didn't you use something thicker when you created your background? Because I wanted to experiment on cheap scrapbook paper. And you don't have to create the background that I did here. You can just use anything you want. Upcycle existing art journal pages that you don't like. That's the beauty of creating little miniature art like this. I hate labeling it as an artist trading card. The purpose for this one is a card because I will be giving it away. But you can create miniature art. Let me get a baby wipe. Down to the last part of the baby wipes are so wet. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a bit. And let's see. Paper towel. Put that in water. And also I'm going to be using my glue gun to glue these down. I always use glue guns for fabric. And I'm going to dry this now. Okay, now this is going to be really iffy because the size of the stamp is right, it's right to the edges, so I'm questioning myself now if using the modeling paste is really the smartest thing to do, but let's try and see. I'm going to put a really thin coat on this. A little bit of the background will still show through. And yes, I could have taped the other side, but I don't care if I get some on there. All right, let's see what happens. And then you'll have to wash the stamp right away. Don't want to press too hard. Just enough pressure to make sure it goes in there. I would say half the pressure you would use when actually stamping it. Did it work? Everything worked except for this part. Well, that's what I'm going to be using. All right, so I'm going to go wash this now. That's going to take about, half an hour to dry. And then we'll come back. All right, this is now dry, so I'm gonna did a little test here to make sure that I was gonna use a cosmetic sponge. I want to test using black, but I don't want to use black, so I'm gonna use the Decor Media Fluid Acrylics, the Payne's Gray. You can make this up yourself, but sometimes it's just a little bit easier using something that's already made. So I'm just using a little cosmetic sponge, and what this is doing is it's picking up all the raised edges, and well, it didn't pick up everything, so I think I may have just put a little bit too much modeling paste. Well, no, that is exactly what happened, too much modeling paste. And I can just very carefully just keep applying more and more of this paint. But what I also want to do is I want to work with there we go, now the letters are showing through. I also want to work with some of the wax metallics. So just very carefully with the lightest pressure. Let's see, there's a word here. There we go. That's actually not too bad. Okay, because you could use a little cloth like this too. Just dip and rub a little bit. And this I'll just put in water. All right. And let's pick up this paint. That's already dry, so I don't even need to do anything with that. All right, so now I'm going to leave this part here to the end. And what I want to do on this side, which will just take a second, is I want to apply a coating of a gloss varnish. And this is just going to give the background a little bit of a sheen. Although I did want this to be a chalky finish. This is just a background. You can do whatever you want with it. Just to give it a little bit of sheen. And you can use like a triple thick, you can use like a Duraclear, a clear varnish. I just used the decoupage medium because it was gloss. No biggie. And I'm just going to dry this for a sec. Alright, I'm firing up the glue gun, so while that's heating up, we'll do a little bit of embellishing here. Now I'm going to take a tiny little brush. This is a wax metallic. And I'm going to apply just a little bit on the edges, and then I'll start building it from there. Just to keep it nice and soft. And I'm finding with this little brush, it's just not, the brush is too soft. So if that's the case, what I can do is I can try, I would normally use my number 8 Bristle Bright for this, so I'll use a tiny little stencil brush. There we go. I just want to get that edge. Similar to when we use a cosmetic sponge and we just do the edge that way, I just want to do it with this. And then with the back side, once that's all done, you can seal it if you want with varnish, but I'm going to be actually doing some rubbing on that to burnish it, which will make it permanent. And I can just pick some parts here to emphasize. This part's a lot of texture here. So if I had to do this again, I would use a much thinner, I would even try with gesso. There we go. I'll try it with gesso and see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna take a soft cloth. And now I'm just gonna rub it in. And what this does is it burnishes, makes it shinier, and it makes it permanent. It fuses right to the surface. Like I said, you can see, look how shiny this is getting. Look at that. You can apply varnish to it. I use such a little amount. Look how shiny that's getting. I love this stuff. I gotta be careful here because some of the modeling paste lifted up. If I just rub it in the direction that the stroke was, it just makes it shiny. Now look at this piece here. There, beautiful. Love that. All right, glue gun, is that hot enough? Yep. Alrighty, so I changed my mind about where I'm going to put this piece. I was going to put it on top of here, but I changed my mind. I'm going to put it down here. I'm just going to tear it and I wonder if I have enough black on here. Do I have enough? No. Okay, let me just quickly just take my sponge and just edge that. You can do this with paint. You can do it with a stamp pad. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to keep the colors consistent. There we go. And for this piece, because it's paper on paper, I'm going to be using, now I took some in a little squeeze bottle, some decoupage matte finish, put it into a little squeeze bottle. And with that, I let it thicken up for a couple of hours. Oh, that's too much glue. There we go. Because the decoupage medium is a glue, a sealer, and a finish all in one. But when you get this stuff on your hands, make sure you wash your hands because it's really super sticky. And now for the glue gun. And I don't mind if the pieces overlap. I'm not a fan of using glue when it comes to fabrics, textiles. It takes too long to dry. This glue gun, is this the piece I wanted to use? Yeah, this glue gun is a little bit big. It's the one that Joe bought me. It's battery powered. It's great for larger pieces. For tiny, tiny little pieces, it's a little large. So I'll just overlap this a little bit here. Perfect. And now the card has a little bit more substance to it. For the clock, I was going to use this big massive one, but I decided to go to something a little bit smaller. That will also need some glue. Actually, you know what I should do? Yeah, so right now, because I've got this piece going on here, it's going to be on a bit of an angle. So if I just put something underneath it, or even something like this, just to balance everything out, then it'll be flush. It'll be flush. Let's put that down first. All right. And oops, I got some glue on there. That's okay, it peels right off. And then I want to position that this way. Now, I've never used a glue gun on this type of embellishment before, so it'll be interesting to see if it actually adheres. It should. It's nice and warm now. Alrighty, so that's that, and the buttons. So let's see. And just do 3 little buttons like this. Oops. You can do it with the writing, without the writing, doesn't matter. I like doing them in clusters. Okay. And that little bow, where did that little bow go? Put that little bow right there. Right here. Oh boy, that's dirty. There we go. Just something just to break it up. And the last thing that's needed, this thing here. Love everything. I want to just color the sides a little bit. I don't want to completely take away from the color in the front because it matches the burlap. That should be adhesive. Oops, that should be adhesive enough. But what I can do, just put a little dot of glue on there. Leave it on an angle. Yeah, on an angle is nice. Whoops, forgot to do the edge. Ah. Whoopsie, whoopsie, whoopsie. There we are. It's going to be a small brush. This one's not sticking. I'll have to use a little bit of pressure on that. Yeah, that one's not sticking. I'll just have to use some pressure on that. And there we go. And then from here, I mean, you can take little bits of, you can take other little things and you can add to it or just leave it the way it is. I kind of like this simple, simple, simple. But I am liking that tape there. You know what? I'm going to put that in there. That's just not tacking up. Okay. So we'll just use this. This I know will stick. What I like about using the glue gun as well is that if you use the glue just in the right amount and you wait just a couple of seconds before you put it down, the letters can actually be raised. You know what you would typically use pop dots for? There we go. And the last piece. Yep. And because we're going onto fabric, I'm going to use the glue. I want it facing inwards. There we go. Voila. All finished. And that's it. Very simple little, and now it's got some nice substance to it. And then I will just use a pen, or I can use a little stamp and just to fill that out when I'm ready to. But that's it. So some very simple little things. So I really hope that you enjoyed this and give it a shot. Don't forget to check out my website for artist trading card swaps that we have going on. And if you create some ATCs, I would love to see pictures of them. Please feel free to email pictures to me or share them in our private Facebook groups. Links to everything is on my website at artplace.ca. So I really hope that you enjoyed this. And don't forget to comment below what you thought of it and some other ATCs or swaps that you've belonged to. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That way you won't miss anything. And give me a thumbs up on the video so I know to make more. All right, so take it easy, everybody. And until I see you next time, stay inspired.